It's tonight, 8:30. Top-seeded Thunder taking on the fourth-seeded Lakers. Now, Thunder and Lakers are meeting for the third time since the Sonics moved in 2008. Thunder won in 5 games in 2012, and the Lakers won in 6 games in 2010. But, you know, OKC have had a lot of success against LA this year. They went 4-0, outscored them by nearly 30 points per game in the regular season, the best differential by any team against the Lakers ever in a single season. The Lakers, huge underdogs in Game 1, laying 15.5 points, the largest underdog role LeBron has ever been in his entire career. Let's bring in our NBA reporter, Dave McMenamin. He is covering the Lakers. So we just went through how the Lakers are huge underdogs in this series. What's J.J. Redick saying about his coaching focus in trying to limit OKC?
Yeah, Brian, he says he needs to be more diligent about how he uses his timeouts in this series. He said he doesn't have the luxury to manage his timeouts the way he normally does, which is he likes to save 4 timeouts for the fourth quarter, including 2 in the last 30 seconds. But he says this Thunder team, they're so good at turning you over, getting out in transition, and going on these 12 to 15 point runs. He needs to be quicker with the trigger to call a timeout to mitigate that momentum that they can build, especially in this building. So that's one small way where J.J. Redick is actually letting us in a little bit on his coaching tactics, how he plans to change his approach against the defending champs.
You know, one of the things he also talked about how guys stepped up in the Rockets series. They're coming off a strong defensive series against the Rockets in round 1. What are the players saying about how they're going to try to slow down SGA and the rest of the Thunder?
Yeah, in many ways, when you look to the Lakers' first-round failure last year compared to their first-round success this year, you point to the new faces that they have. And Marcus Smart and DeAndre Ayton both had huge impacts in that win over the Rockets. Smart is second in the 2026 playoffs in steals. Ayton is second in the 2026 playoffs in rebounds. Ayton's going to be tasked with taking care of the big men and Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren in this series, and certainly the perimeter threat that is SGA, the reigning MVP, will fall upon Marcus Smart at times. Now, we spoke to Marcus Smart at practice in LA yesterday, and he said that him and Ayton both have a strong relationship. Their lockers are next to one another at Crypto.com Arena, and he said that we're both trying to get back in the good graces of the basketball gods and remind people what we can do still. If you think about the last couple of years for both of them, it kind of went a little bit sideways, but these are two guys that both have finals experience, obviously for the Suns with Ayton and the Boston Celtics with Marcus Smart.
Yeah, well, listen, here's the good news for the Lakers. No Luka Doncic, but for OKC, no Jalen Williams as well. Both of these guys dealing with that hamstring injury. They're out in Day 1. All right, Dave McMenamin, thank you.
NBA analyst Kendrick Perkins is with us now. Perk, if the Lakers are going to keep things close in Game 1, what has to happen?
They're going to have to pray first. That's the number one thing they're going to have to do is pray. But number 2, they're going to have to keep down the turnovers. But number 3, most importantly, they're going to have to get physical. It's going to have to be one in the trenches, and it's going to have to start with their big man, DeAndre Ayton. Look, he had a huge impact in the first series against the Rockets. They're going to need him to elevate his game even more on both ends of the floor. Being a monster on the glass, protecting the rim, being versatile, being able to switch out on guards and being able to slide his feet, talking, communicating, setting good screens, rolling to the basket, finishing at the basket. If DeAndre Ayton could come out and outplay Chet or even match Chet to numbers-wise and outplay him from a physicality standpoint, him and Isaiah Hartenstein, then he absolutely gives the Lakers a fighting chance to be in this series. If he don't, the Lakers go home in 5.
All right. Bishop Perkins, you stay right there. Let's go back over to Brian.
Okay, let's talk about the Oklahoma City side of things. Tim McMahon, he's covering them. Tim, listen, I talked about Jalen Williams. He's out tonight with that left hamstring strain. What about his status, though, the rest of this series?
Howdy, Brian. The Thunder, pretty tight-lipped organization. They are referring to him as week to week, and they're trying to be as vague as possible. I would unofficially describe him as questionable for the series. Having said that, during pregame warmups tonight, I'm going to have a close eye on Jalen Williams to see what he's doing. Is it just spot shooting? Is he, is he moving around? Is there any sort of explosive movement? I can guarantee you this. Not only will I have eyes on him, but I'm sure members of the Lakers organization will also keep a close eye on that, looking for hints of just how close Jalen Williams could be to returning. But the Thunder have had a lot of success without him, 41-10 now this season without a guy who was All-NBA a year ago.
Wow. All right, one of the things SGA hasn't done in his career, how about face LeBron James in the postseason? What's he saying about the matchup?
Certainly a ton of respect for LeBron James from SGA, and he basically said he can sit there and talk all day about how great he is, but his greatness speaks for itself. Now, he said this would be a fun matchup. You can really test yourself against LeBron, according to SGA. He said, obviously, he's a bit out of his prime, but he's still very capable.
We'll see. Absolutely. Tim McMahon, appreciate you. Thank you very much, Jay.
Let's go back to Kendrick Perkins. Mr. Perkins, the Thunder, they haven't played since sweeping the Suns last Monday. What are you going to be watching for from them after more than a week off?
Well, look, we know SGA is going to do his thing. That's why he's nicknamed Shea Butter, because he is the best player in the game. But I'm looking at a guy to elevate, and that's Chet Holmgren, right? No Jalen Williams. He's out. I'm looking for Chet to raise his level of play and show the world that he actually could be a bona fide second option offensively. There's no reason that he shouldn't come out of this series not victorious, but averaging 20 and 10. He needs to be a monster. When you talk about one of the most skilled bigs in the game, that's Chet Holmgren. His ability offensively to mix it up for his picking and popping, picking and rolling to the basket, and also you could give him isolation plays. So I'm looking at Chet to be dominant on both ends of the floor. He is the biggest X factor, and all eyes will be on him to see if he could be a bona fide Robin to SGA, who's the Batman of the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Okay, again, that is tonight. But before we go, Perk, we need to get your thoughts on last night, so I'm going to give you back to Brian for that.
Okay. Jay, there was some Game 1 wows in New York and San Antonio. How about Anthony Edwards? Ant-Man scored 18 points off the bench his first game back from that knee injury. Wolves pulled off a surprising Game 1 win in San Antonio. Victor Wembanyama was held to just 11 points on 5 of 17 shooting. He did have 15 rebounds, 12 blocks in the loss. Meanwhile, in New York, the Knicks picked up where they left off. They routed the Sixers in Game 1. Knicks are now first team to win 3 straight playoff games by at least 25. Jalen Brunson led the way. He scored 27 of his game-high 35 in the first half. So, Perk, who impressed you more last night? Was it the gritty T-Wolves winning in San Antonio despite Wemby's defensive masterpiece in those 12 blocks? Or was it the Knicks blowing the doors off the Sixers?
Look, I'm leaning more towards Minnesota defeating the San Antonio Spurs and telling my big dumb ass to go sit down somewhere, because I actually picked the San Antonio Spurs to win the NBA championship and forgot that the Minnesota Timberwolves went to the conference finals last year. And I forgot that Anthony Edwards is a different breed. He's every former player favorite player, and he showed why last night, telling the doctors that I'm not trying to hear what you guys are talking about. I'm playing, making himself available. And then we go to one of the best stories in this postseason, who has been Jaden McDaniels, right, who is emerging right in front of our eyes of becoming one of the better two-way players in the game. He's already the best perimeter defender in the league, but now his offense has went to another level, and I'm looking at the spirit of this team, the confidence, and they're playing with an edge. In the San Antonio Spurs, yes, I'm overreacting. After Game 1, they are in trouble. If they don't get Game 2, which is a must-win, they're going to get swept. They're going to get swept. I'm telling you this now.
I hear what you're saying, but the last thing I would say to you, at least not in your face, is dumb. You know what I'm saying? Bishop, I would never say that to you in your face.
Well, I could call myself, BC, you and Jay my boys, but I could call myself dumb. You know what I mean? The 10% of the time that I'm wrong, I got to hold myself accountable.
10%. 10%. Not 10%. Look, now you're being stupid, Perk. That's Perk.